The wind whispered secrets through the cottonwoods along the Powder River, carrying the faint echo of a rifle shot that had long since faded into the vast Dakota sky. Evelyn Harper, barely 19, her skirts muddied from fleeing her father's overbearing shadow, pressed her back against a gnarled trunk, heart thundering like war drums. She'd slipped away from the settler camp at dusk, drawn by the river's siren call, needing air that didn't reek of unwashed wool and simmering resentment. Her father, Josiah, a stern homesteader with a Bible in one hand and a claim stake in the other, had betrothed her to Elias Crow, the whiskey-sodden trader whose touch made her skin crawl. Marriage for land, he called it. Survival, she knew it to be. But tonight, as stars pricked the indigo veil above, Evelyn sought solace in solitude, until the rustle of moccasins on leaves shattered it. A shadow detached from the underbrush, tall and sinewy, his braids adorned with eagle feathers that caught the moonlight like whispers from the ancestors. Takoda, heir to Chief Black Buffalo's Lakota band, moved like the river itself, silent, inevitable. He was hunting, bow slung across his broad back, when the scent of lavender soap, foreign, intoxicating, led him here. Their eyes met across the clearing, hers wide with fear, his narrowed in wary curiosity. "White ghost," he murmured in Lakota, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers unrelated to the chill. Evelyn bolted, skirts tangling in brambles, but he was faster, his hand catching her wrist, not to harm, but to steady. "Wait," he said in halting English, learned from fur traders who'd bartered beads for buffalo hides. "No harm. You trespass on sacred ground." Her pulse raced under his grip, warm and calloused, worlds colliding in that single touch. Who was this warrior, and why did his gaze pierce her like no suitors ever had? She yanked free, stumbling back, words tumbling out in a frantic whisper. "I didn't mean, my camp's just over the ridge. Please, don't tell." Takoda tilted his head, studying her as one might a rare bird, fragile yet fierce. In his world, women of the white man were myths, painted as harbingers of the bluecoats who stole land and lives. Yet this one, with fire in her emerald eyes and defiance in her stance, stirred something ancient, a pull like the moon on tides. Why run alone? Night brings spirits. Evelyn laughed bitterly, the sound echoing too loud in the quiet. Spirits? My father's the monster here, selling me off like cattle. The confession hung between them, raw and unbidden. Takoda's expression softened, a flicker of understanding crossing his chiseled features. My father chains me too. Chief's son must wed for alliance, not heart. Their shared cage, invisible yet ironclad, bridged the chasm. As thunder grumbled distant warning, curiosity overrode caution, Evelyn nodded, following him to a hidden glade where embers glowed from a concealed pit. They sat across flames that danced like forbidden thoughts, words weaving tentative threads. She spoke of sod houses choking on prairie dust, of hymns sung to drown out coyote howls. He shared tales of the Great Spirit, Wakantanka, who wove destinies in star threads. Laughter slipped in uninvited when she mimicked her father's sermons, and he confessed to sneaking whiskey from traders, coughing on the burn. Hours melted away, the storm lashing the world beyond their shelter. When lightning cracked close, illuminating his face, high cheekbones, full lips curved in a rare smile, Evelyn's breath hitched. "What's your name?" he asked, voice husky. "Evelyn." "Takoda." "Friend to the people." "Friend." The word lingered, warm as the fire's glow. But as rain eased to drizzle, reality intruded, a distant lantern bobbing from her camp. "I must go," she whispered, heart aching at the separation. He pressed a small beaded bracelet into her palm. "For luck. Return if stars allow." She fled into the night, the beads biting into her skin like a promise she dared not name. Days blurred into stolen nights. Evelyn lied to Josiah about herb gathering, slipping away under moonless skies. Takoda waited in the glade, sharing pemmican and stories of thunderbirds that carried warriors to the stars. Their talks deepened, her dreams of teaching, free from aprons and alliances, his burdens as future chief, torn between tradition and the white man's encroaching rails. Touches grew bolder, his fingers brushing hers over a shared pipe, her head on his shoulder as they watched fireflies mimic constellations. One evening, as cicadas chorused their approval, Takoda cupped her face, thumb tracing her jaw. "You are like the dawn, light in darkness." Their lips met, tentative then fierce, the world narrowing to the taste of wild berries on his tongue. Love ignited, reckless and radiant, a flame no prairie wind could snuff. But suspense shadowed every rendezvous, rustles in the brush that proved only deer, yet always the fear of eyes watching. Twist came swift as a rattler's strike. Elias Crow, jilted and jealous, trailed Evelyn one dusk, his boots heavy on the soft earth. Hidden in ferns, he witnessed the kiss, rage boiling like bad moonshine. Indian filth, he snarled to himself, retreating to whisper venom in Josiah's ear. By morning, the camp buzzed with fury. Josiah burst into Evelyn's soddy, face purpled. "Consorting with savages? You'll bring bluecoats down on us all." She denied at first, but his backhand cracked her denial. "Elias saw you. Pack your things, we marry at noon, or you're out." Terror clawed her throat. Takoda's band camped miles away, across hostile lines. Desperate, she fled to the glade at midday, finding him skinning a rabbit. "They know," she gasped, collapsing into his arms. Takoda's face hardened, bow in hand. "Come with me. My people will shelter." But as they gathered her scant belongings, a shawl, her mother's locket, the war whoops echoed. Josiah's men, rifles raised, encircled the glade. "Give us the girl, Redskin!" Elias bellowed. Takoda stood tall, arrow nocked. "She chooses her path." Shots rang, grazing Takoda's shoulder. Evelyn screamed, dragging him into the trees as bullets splintered bark. They ran, lungs burning, the river their salvation. Takoda's wound seeped, but his grip on her hand was iron. "To the hills, my father's scouts watch." Behind, hoofbeats thundered, pursuit relentless. Twist, a Lakota rider crested the ridge ahead, not ally but outcast, eyes gleaming with betrayal. "Heir returns with White Witch? Chief will exile you both." Takoda shoved him aside, but the rider's cry alerted the band. By nightfall, they reached Black Buffalo's encampment, teepees circling like wary sentinels. The chief, Takoda's father, face carved from granite, awaited with crossed arms. "You bring poison to our fire?" Evelyn trembled, words failing in the face of painted warriors. Takoda stepped forward, blood staining his tunic. "She is my heart, father. Wakan Tonka wills it." Silence stretched, broken only by wind in the grass. Black Buffalo's gaze bored into Evelyn, then softened imperceptibly. "Love defies arrows. But white blood invites bluecoats." Exile decreed at dawn, no horses, no weapons, just banishment to the unclaimed Badlands. Heartbreak carved deeper than any blade. Josiah, upon finding her gone, rallied settlers and sympathizers, branding her a traitor, Takoda a savage thief. Bounty whispers spread, $50 for the renegade lovers. They trudged into desolation, Evelyn's city shoes blistering feet, Takoda's shoulder festering without herbs. Suspense haunted every horizon, dust clouds signaling riders, howls that might be wolves or men. One night, fever claimed Takoda, delirium spilling secrets. "I dreamed of you before we met," he murmured, hand on her belly, unbeknownst to her, life stirred within. Evelyn nursed him with river water and whispered prayers, her resolve stealing. "We'll build, my love. A home no one claims." Dawn brought hunters, Elias's posse, faces twisted in hate. Bullets whizzed, Takoda, weakened, felled one with a thrown knife. Evelyn fired Josiah's stolen pistol, the crack echoing her defiance. They escaped, but the wound reopened, Takoda collapsing miles later. In a hidden canyon, they carved sanctuary, a lean-to from driftwood, a garden from stolen seeds. Months passed, Evelyn's belly swelling with their child, a beacon amid barren rock. Takoda mended slowly, teaching her to track game, to read the stars as maps. Love deepened in labor, her hands on his scars, his songs lulling her fears. But suspense gnawed, scouts reported settler wagons encroaching, Lakota braves testing borders. One eve, as Evelyn labored under a harvest moon, pain ripping through her, riders appeared, not enemies, but Black Buffalo himself, dismounting with a medicine woman. "Grandchild calls," he grunted, eyes wet. The birth was agony and miracle, a daughter, eyes like Evelyn's, cries strong as Takoda's voice. They named her Ayana, Eternal Blossom. The chief's visit sealed fragile peace, he left a pony and furs, whispering, "Bloodlines bend, but love endures." Years wove their tapestry. Ayana grew wild and wise, fluent in English hymns and Lakota chants, bridging worlds her parents straddled. The canyon bloomed, corn from Evelyn's tending, stories from Takoda's fireside. Yet danger circled. Elias, embittered, rallied a posse for justice, claiming Takoda raided his stock, a lie to mask greed. They struck at dawn, flames licking the lean-to. Evelyn scooped Ayana, Takoda grabbing bow and blade. Chaos erupted, arrows felling horses, bullets pinging off rocks. In the melee, Elias cornered Evelyn, rifle raised. "You chose wrong, girl." Twist, Ayana, foreign fearless, hurled a stone, distracting him. Takoda's arrow pierced true, Elias crumpling. The posse fled, but victory soured, Josiah arrived, face ashen, not with guns but surrender. "My daughter's dead to me no more. Forgive an old fool." Repentance? Or ploy? Josiah confessed, he'd driven the wedge, fearing loss of land, but Ayana's existence shattered his hate. Truce forged, uneasy as new snow. Peace settled, fragile. Evelyn taught Ayana letters by firelight, Takoda legends under stars. Their home, once shelter, became haven, teepee fused with sod, symbols entwined. Love's legacy flowered, Ayana wed a mixed-blood scout, birthing children who danced between worlds. But shadows lingered. One autumn, as leaves bled gold, a rider brought word, Black Buffalo dying, summoning Takoda. Chief's mantle waits. Torn, Takoda confided in Evelyn, duty pulled east, love anchored west. "Choose us," she urged, but his honor warred. Suspense crested in the chief's lodge, braves chanting, when Black Buffalo gripped his son's hand. "Lead as you love, with open heart." Takoda returned, not chief, but bridge builder, negotiating treaties that spared blood. Decades etched lines on their faces, silver threading hair. Ayana's children romped the canyon, Evelyn's garden feeding neighbors, settler and Lakota alike. Takoda's songs echoed in schoolhouses, Evelyn's tales in council fires. Love, once forbidden, wove the fabric of a new frontier. But the end twist, on their silver anniversary, under that first cottonwood, Ayana gifted a locket, her mother's, passed from Josiah, engraved inside, "To my daughter, from the father who failed but loves eternal." Josiah, long buried, had whispered it on deathbed, revealing Evelyn wasn't his blood, adopted after a raid, her true mother Lakota, stolen young. Takoda laughed through tears. Wakantanka's weave. Worlds not bridged, but one all along. Their love? Not choice against fate, but destiny reclaimed. In the river's murmur, happiness hummed, unbreakable, unbound.